Sadhvi, first of all, thank you for being part of Impact Story. Well, you must have met a lot of people, influential people, rich people, wealthy people. What you feel that why they are not happy?
If my drishti is just make money, I'll never be happy. I know beautiful people who are beautiful entrepreneurs, keep inventing these wonderful things that are helping the world. Usse paisa aa rahe hain. They're also happy. Kyunki laksh paisa ka nahi. People who are rich and miserable, you can be sure it is because in their mind, the money was the solution to their misery. Pura vishwa mein aajkal ye loneliness epidemic ho raha hai. In the prayers we sing here every morning, there's a beautiful line that says, Tu akele nahi pya. Ram Resatme. So that teaching, I think, is really an answer to all of the loneliness. Depression ka koi matlab nahi hai. Ram mere saath.
Which is the real God?
That's like saying,
Sadhvi, first of all, thank you for being part of Impact Story. So my very interesting question is that why you feel the void of coming all the way from Hollywood to here?
देखो जब मैं आई तो ऐसे नहीं कि मेरे मन में आए कि oh, I should leave this very shallow materialistic world.
Obviously.
I should go to a spiritual world. I wish that had happened. I wish कि आज मैं आपको कह सकती कि yeah, I was very advanced in my mind. मैंने ऐसे प्रार्थना किया, ऐसे निर्णय लिया. But that is not actually how it happened.
Correct.
I came at 25 with a book. मैंने graduation complete किया, वो भी Stanford University में. उसके बाद मैं PhD कर रही थी child neuropsychology में. मैं आई backpack केवल घूमने की. मेरा बहुत traveling का शौक है. I had traveled throughout Europe, many places in Europe. I had spent a lot of time traveling across the US. I'd been in South America, across England, alag-alag जगह में.
बिल्कुल.
इंडिया के बारे में मुझे really कुछ भी पता ही नहीं था. केवल एक ही चीज कि मैं एक पक्का vegetarian थी. 15 साल की उम्र से. Not bachpan se, family was not vegetarian. But at 15, I automatically became vegetarian. And I was a very pakka vegetarian. Not like thoda sa bhi chal
mix.
Thing, yeah. Thing like pakka mane pakka.
Pakka.
My mother used to say whenever we would go to restaurants or waiter aate hain, order lene ke liye. तो माँ हमेशा कहती थी उनको कि pull up a chair, you're going to be here for a while. मतलब ये तो लंबा conversation होने वाले. So what I had seen, now this is 30, 35, even 40 years ago. If you don't speak the language very well, and even sometimes when you do speak the language very well, you get things like vegetable soup, but the broth is chicken broth.
So true.
Even when I was in South America, I discovered they were boiling their rice pani ki jagah pe in chicken broth. Little things like that, jo unki man mein nahi aata hai, unko lagta hai bas seasoning hai. Lekin from the perspective of a pure vegetarian, this is not vegetarian food. तो मैंने ये सीखा कि मैं पूरी विश्व में कहीं भी होती हूँ. At Indian restaurants, I could always get pure vegetarian food. I knew कि 2 बार पूछना नहीं पड़ता कि कोई मछली नहीं डालेंगे, ना अंडा डालेंगे, nothing, no eggs, no fish. I was safe. So when India was suggested as a place to go, actually मैंने केवल इसलिए हाँ कि I knew कि कम से कम आराम से मैं ठीक से खुशी से खाना खा पाऊंगी.
Correct.
So I didn't actually have, it's very embarrassing now to admit, but I didn't actually have that spiritual inclination awareness that said कि मुझे भारत जाना है, ध्यान सीखना, ज्ञान प्राप्त करना, nothing like that. Just घूमना है और कम से कम खाना ठीक से खुशी से खाना खा लो.
Beautiful.
May I? Usi समय, this was 1996. So there was no Google. We had a Lonely Planet guidebook. एक 500 page का guidebook था. Delhi में, I still can picture it. Sitting in Connaught Place, finally found a restaurant where I got decent coffee, filter coffee. Coffee पीते हुए एक guidebook होता. Rishikesh. Just like that. Isliye I tell everyone.
No planning, nothing.
Nothing. No planning at all. I was in a PhD program, had been in final exams. Now it's very easy. Even you have 5 minutes, you go on Google, Acha India, mein kahan jaun.
Right.
That time it was not so easy. You had to really spend time reading this big, thick guidebook. Who has time like that? In school, I had no time. On the airplane, I was so tired from my final exams, I just slept the whole way. So, finally, Delhi mein. Nashta kar rahe Connaught Place mein in some restaurant. Reading the guidebook, मैंने कहा Rishikesh. Just like that. But इसलिए मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ, this was grace. This is grace, this is destiny, this is divine plan.
Right.
I had no plan, I had no idea, but my heart was open. And I was just very open to whatever the plan is. Rishikesh dekha. Rishikesh, I had no idea where to stay and anything like that. उसी समय, इसी area में जहाँ Parmarth निकलता है, this is the area called Swarg Ashram.
Swarg Ashram.
Swarg Ashram. एक आश्रम का नाम भी है, but पूरी area का नाम है.
Okay.
So this is Parmarth Nikatan, where I live, the biggest ashram in Rishikesh. But the entire area ka naam hai Swarg Ashram Rishikesh.
Okay.
Heavenly Road in Rishikesh. इसी पूरी Swarg Ashram के area में, it was only ashrams. केवल एक ही hotel था. बाकी सारे hotels were up at Lakshman Jhula or cross the river in Rishikesh, downtown Rishikesh. Guidebook पढ़ते मैंने देखा कि एक होटल है, उसका नाम है Green Hotel.
Green Hotel.
मैं एक environmentalist. I had worked for Greenpeace in my summer vacation. मुझे लगा Green Hotel ये तो कोई eco resort होगा, कोई eco-friendly place होगा. तो मैंने कहा कि let's stay in the Green Hotel. बाद में पता लगाया कि Green Hotel क्योंकि the walls were painted green. But उसी समय मुझे लगा ये तो कोई eco resort होगा. But Green Hotel, ये देखो how grace works in your life. I needed to come to Parmarth Nikatan. This was my destiny. This was my dharma. How did the universe send me? They sent me to the only hotel in this entire area called the Green Hotel. नहीं तो अगर मैं लक्ष्मण झूला में रुक, तो maybe I never would have come.
Correct.
एक हफ्ते रुके चले जाते. But the universe knew this is my dharma, मुझे यहाँ आना. So one hotel, Green Hotel, उसी hotel में, we made our reservations. Come down to Ganga. Just fresh honey. We had been traveling. Cross the river. किसी ने हमको बताया नहीं कि there's a boat. किसी ने ये भी नहीं बताया कि अच्छा कूली करा दो. People sometimes are a little different with foreign. Now people have gotten better, but in दिनों में things were a little...
It's a very different guy.
And they would just say, you cross bridge. Footbridge. Like a saman. You cross bridge with luggage.
All the luggage.
So by the time we got here, we were hot, we were tired. तो मैंने कहा कि I'm going down to the river to put my feet in the river. मुझे लगा थोड़ा सा fresh हो जाऊं. मुझे मालूम नहीं था कि गंगा माँ, मालूम नहीं था कि this river is holy and sacred. केवल इसको मालूम था, I just knew that it's a river. I go down to Ganga. Stand on Ganga. Ganga ka darshan ki. And it was like this veil that had been over my eyes, over my mind, over my life, suddenly was just ripped off. And usi समय तुरंत I was in this divine realm, in this divine presence of the divine. And suddenly, whatever I looked at, wherever I looked, everything was God. Everything was the divine. So was I. मैं भगवान से अलग नहीं थी, किसी से अलग नहीं थी. Everything was God. Now, I had not been a religious person. I was not even one of those who say, well, I'm spiritual but not religious. I was a scientist. I was an academic. I was a social person. I was not religious. But here I am suddenly in the presence of the divine. From that moment, I knew that this is where I'm meant to be. कि यही मेरा guide.
Believe in the unaware calling also? That the one you experience in the... You believe in this thing?
Absolutely. Not just believing, I've seen.
You're not aware about that time that this river is a holy river, but still.
देखो, मान लीजिएगा, आप बैठते हैं, मेरी आंखें बंद हैं. अगर आप कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे, तो मेरे कान भी पकड़ नहीं सकते हैं कि you are here.
Correct.
आप बोल रहे हैं तो I can hear it, but you don't speak, I cannot hear. आंखें खुले हैं, I see you. आंखें बंद हैं, I cannot see you. You are too far away from me to smell or to taste or to touch. लेकिन आप अभी हैं. ऐसे नहीं कि मेरी आंखें बंद हैं तो आप नहीं हैं.
Beautiful.
आप हैं. But I just cannot interact with you because I'm not able to recognize you. ठीक इसी तरह से. All of that was true. That divine presence was there, but I couldn't see. My eyes were closed. My mind was closed. My way of knowing was closed. When I came, it was like somehow that divinity of Ganga that did not require me to know she was divine. But that divinity just opened my eyes. And suddenly, जो पहले से था, जो हमेशा से, जब हम कहते हैं सनातन, मतलब eternal. It's not कि आज मेरी आंखें खुले तो now it happens.
Right.
This is eternal. But my eyes open, my heart open, my mind open, my awareness, my experience. And suddenly I was able to know that which already was.
But India is a land full of religion, culture, very rich place. But why only Sanatan Dharma?
किसके लिए? मेरे लिए या दूसरों के लिए?
For you, mother, why only
No,
inclination toward the Ganga? There were other religion also. Yeah.
So I was born and raised in a Jewish family, in the Jewish religion. My grandmother हमेशा कहती थी मुझको कि why India? Why India? Why not Israel?
Israel.
Why not Israel?
Right.
There's rabbis in Israel.
Rabbi.
You have a Swami here. You have a Guru here. Why not rabbi from Israel?
Correct.
And I used to say to her कि Grandma, I don't know. मैंने ऐसे प्लान तो नहीं किया. ऐसे नहीं कि कैलिफोर्निया में बैठते मैंने कोई प्लान किया कि मैं इंडिया जाऊंगी. I will have this experience at Guru को ढूंढ लूंगी. All I knew was backpack pickered. एक छोटी सी semester मैंने off लिया, छुट्टी लिया, travel के लिए. बाकी तो was my grandma को हमेशा बताती थी कि देखो, this was God's plan. If it was God's plan that I should be living in Israel on a kibbutz with a rabbi, God would have sent me to Israel instead of to India. But this was clearly part of the destiny. So you ask, why Sanatan Dharma? If I had been meant to have this experience in any other religion situation, भगवान मेरे को वहीं भेज देते. Right? Vatican में भेज देते मुझको. Israel में भेज देते.
Correct.
Would have been sent anywhere in the world. Amritsar में भेज देते. But I wasn't. This is the way that the divine works. But I'll tell you something really interesting कि एक बार कि अपना अनुभव जो है, एक बार when you have that experience, that connection with the divine, then आप चाहे कोई Jewish synagogue में बैठते हैं, कोई church में बैठते हैं, गुरुद्वारा में बैठते हैं, mosque में बैठते हैं, जहाँ भी बैठते हैं, you have that same experience. It's not there's a Sanatan Dharma God and there's a Jewish God and there's a Christian God and there's a Sikh God. No. There is just one infinite reality. Whatever you call it. One infinite reality. I was given the open doorway through Sanatan Dharma. But that open doorway brought me not into a dogma. It brought me into a river, an ocean, an infinite ocean of oneness with the divine that now I feel wherever I am.
Right.
But Sanatan Dharma को ले केवल ये जो भीतर की गहराई, that depth of experience, उसके अलावा purely from a way of life, from a way of organizing and understanding your life, a set of values and ethics, Sanatan Dharma for me is really like the best system and set of values, of principles, of ways to experience the divine that I have ever gone through. For example, in Sanatan Dharma, we are taught and emphasized over and over again कि आप भगवान से अलग नहीं, कि you are one with God.
Right.
अब आप सोचिएगा, पूरा विश्व में आजकल ये loneliness epidemic हो रहा है, depression की epidemic हो रहा है.
Correct.
If everyone knew I am one with God, God is always with me, तो कोई loneliness नहीं. There would be no loneliness, there'd be no depression, because we would know God is always with me. Sanatan Dharma हमको सिखाते हैं कि ये जो भगवान जिसकी पूजा आप करते हैं, जिसको मानते हैं, जिसको प्रणाम करते हैं, that God is in all. Isha vasimidam. Yat kincha jagatyam jagat. That same divinity pervades all. It means wherever you go, whether you're in a forest with the trees, whether you are amidst a crowd of people, whether you are just alone with yourself and the atmosphere, everything is pervaded. You're never... In the prayers we sing here every morning, there's a beautiful line that says, Tu akele nahi pya, Ram tere saath mein. So that teaching that is very unique to Sanatan Dharma, I think is really an answer to all of the loneliness, all of the depression. क्योंकि depression में ये अनुभव है कि मैं अकेले हूँ, कोई है नहीं मेरा, ना कोई कभी होगा, मैं अकेले ही रहूंगी, इसलिए I'm depressed, फिर शराब पीने लगते, ड्रग्स लेने का, तो जो भी है ताकि मेरा मन में थोड़ा सा ये डिप्रेशन दूर हो जाए, भले ही 10 मिनट के लिए, आधा घंटे के लिए, then you're worse. But if I know तू अकेले नहीं भी, then depression का कोई मतलब नहीं है, राम मेरे साथ.
Did you got in the early stage of your life when you came here and thought of being part of the culture, क्या आपको किसी criticize किया कि oh how can a foreigner learn so much about Sanatan Dharma?
लोग मेरे को बहुत criticize करते थे, बहुत criticize.
So India तो is criticism, yeah.
India has, I have to tell you, very honest, India has a bit of a strange relationship with the Western world. On the one hand, they all want it. अच्छा मेरा बच्चा को आप किसी तरह से नौकरी लगवाओ, चाहे वो कोई अच्छा यूनिवर्सिटी में कराओ, जॉब दिलवाओ, वो बर्तन मांजने के लिए तैयार है, झाड़ू लगाने के लिए तैयार है, बस कुछ भी करो विदेश में भेज दो.
Correct.
जो भी प्रोडक्ट चाहते हैं विदेश वाले चाहिए हमको.
Correct.
मुझे याद है आजकल तो सब फोन के ऊपर है, लेकिन जब digital cameras, when everybody had digital cameras, I used to laugh. जब भी मैं अमेरिका जाती थी, people would say, अच्छा मेरे लिए एक digital camera. वहीं से सबसे बढ़िया वाले यार. मैं कह थक गई कि देखो, digital cameras, the good ones, are made in Japan. Sony ho, Toshiba ho, whatever these companies, they are made in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that if that camera goes from Tokyo to Los Angeles and then Los Angeles to Delhi, where in my hand, that somehow that is of more value than if it comes either from Tokyo to Delhi? But so people have this thing with the West where they want it very much. देखो सभी fairness cream लगाते हैं. उसी चक्कर में है सुंदर का मतलब fair.
Right.
ने really मेरे दिल को टूटते हैं. पहले ये जॉली ग्रांट एयरपोर्ट खोलने से पहले मैं हमेशा शताब्दी ट्रेन से जाती थी. अब तो इतने सारे फ्लाइट्स आने लगे तो फ्लाइट से ही जाती रहती हूँ. But airport has only been here maybe 15 years or so.
Right.
It's not very old.
Very old, right.
And I used to go by Shatabdi train. On the Shatabdi train, they would give you the English newspapers. Hindustan Times, Times of India. मैं हमेशा matrimonials पढ़ती थी. लोग मेरे को हंसते थे कि सन्यासी कहाँ matrimonials पढ़ रही है. लेकिन कोई बात नहीं, I was a young Videshi girl. I think they just thought कि कोई बात नहीं, छोड़ो जब. But मैं इसलिए पढ़ती थी क्योंकि मैं पढ़ के ढूंढ रही कि क्या कोई ऐसा टेस्टिमोनियल हो जिसमें fair skinned नहीं भी. 100%. In those years, I must have read thousands of matrimonials. I was back and forth to Delhi. I must have read thousands of those matrimonials. Every single one of them. Fair-skinned beauty. Fair-skinned beauty. Socho, Tamil Nadu say fair-skinned beauty. होती नहीं है.
Mm-hmm.
They're dark-skinned beauties.
Right.
In the West, we would say they are exotic. Exotic beauty. Here, fair-skinned. Now, you think, ये लड़की, उसको पता ही कि fair-skinned नहीं है. रोज mirror में देखती है. अब उसको हम क्या बता रहे हैं? कि you have to lie in order to get a husband. Such बोल के कोई को देखने नहीं आएगा.
Correct.
This is violence. ये हिंसा है. It's violence to this girl's heart. It's violence to her mind. कि मुझे झूठ बोल के कोई पति मिलेगा. And she knows कि जैसे मिलेगा वो तो पता लग जाएगा कि मैं fair skin नहीं हूँ. सोचो उसमें क्या stress हो. But anyway, I digress. But the point is कि India का जो विदेश का influence हो, चाहे skin color हो, चाहे product हो, चाहे नौकरी हो, चाहे certification ho, they love it. But on the other hand, they are very negative, suspicious. So yes, there was definitely negativity. There was, I think, a sense of adoration, the way that we adore that which comes from the West. But there was also absolutely a lot of suspicion कि उसका मतलब, what is she doing here? कोई सोच ले सा कि somebody from the West सब कुछ होते हुए भी अपने आप एक आश्रम में रहने लगेंगे. So naturally everybody thought कि जरूर कोई चक्कर तो होगी.
Right.
क्योंकि कोई एक्सेप्ट नहीं करना चाहता. अध्यात्मता की इतनी शक्ति है कि कोई कैलिफोर्निया से खींच के यहाँ ले आएंगे.
Right.
And that I would actually be happy and want to do it. इसलिए I keep telling everyone कि that is not the way to happiness. People think कि I will buy a lot of things, I will have a lot of money, I will build a big house, I will have big cars, then I will be happy. मैंने सब कुछ देखा.
Obviously.
Nobody was happy. Nobody was happy. सब कुछ होते हुए भी मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि भले ही अपने बिस्तर सोने से बनी हुई, a bed made of gold, लेकिन जब नींद लाने के लिए गोली खाने तो what is the use of a bed made of gold?
Correct.
तो जब मैं यहाँ आए, that inner experience, that inner awakening, that inner bliss was so powerful कि वो तरफ था और मेरा जो भी मेरा पास था वो एक था. And this side was so much more. Because all of this never actually led to happiness or peace. ये तो जब माया की बात करते हैं यही माया है कि हम इसके पीछे 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 भाग के जाते हैं. When real happiness is in the spiritual life. But when people don't realize that, when they're running after just money and possession, then naturally they're suspicious of someone who wants to live a spiritual life. Koi chakur hoga, koi breakdown ho gaya. My parents and everybody thought I had been kidnapped and brainwashed and joined a cult and, all of these things.
Yes, but you must have met a lot of people, influential people, rich people, wealthy people. What do you think? What is their biggest fear? And when they come to you, are you happy? Must be asking you the same question. Are you happy? And despite having so much of wealth, what you feel that why they are not happy?
They're not happy. It's not that wealth and happiness can't go together. They can go together. As long as you are not looking for your happiness in. It's not that every rich person is unhappy. But it's that if my drishti and my laksh, my goal is just make money, I'll never be happy. If I am living my dharma, and I'm living a spiritual life, and I'm living a connected life, and money comes automatically, beautiful. I know people like that. I know beautiful people who are beautiful entrepreneurs, keep inventing these wonderful things that are helping the world.
Correct.
Usse paisa aa rahe hain. They're also happy. Kyunki laksh paisa ka nahi. Laksh is, what is my dharma? What skills, abilities do I have that I can actually use to serve the world? Laksh is, how can I be closer and closer to the divine every day? So if the laksh is money, you will always be miserable. Because you are running after something where it's not there. Dekho, Dwarka was a city made of gold.
Yeah.
Koi jaake rehne ke liye tayar hoga?
Right.
Right? If we, maan lijiyega, tomorrow we put an ad in the newspaper. Free apartments. Dwarka has been rebuilt. Ravan aage wapas. You can have a free golden apartment in Lanka. Koi jana chahenge? No. Dwarka also was a city made of gold. Sabhi jana chahenge.
Correct.
Both are cities made of gold.
Lanka and Dwarka.
Lanka and Dwarka, both cities made of gold.
Right.
Lanka was hell. Nobody would want to go. Not then, not now. Dwarka, city made of gold, heaven. Everybody wanted to be there then and would go. What was the difference? Both were made of gold. Antar Kita. The head of Lanka, Ravan. Head of Dwarka, Krishna. So it's not the gold. The gold is not the problem. The gold is not the solution. Na gold ki vajah se Lanka was hell. Na gold ki vajah se Dwarka was heaven. So people who are rich and miserable, you can be sure it is because in their mind, the money was the solution to their misery. And as they got more and more money, misery to abhi hai. But now there's added misery because all of the time, all of the energy, all of the focus that they're spending on getting more and more money, money is coming, happiness is not coming. So now you have their original misery and you add frustration, you add exhaustion, you add stress, you add competition. Now they're even more miserable. This is the...
I have a very interesting question for you. Which is the real God? There's two kind of God in today's world. One is man-made God. And the other one is the God which nobody has seen. Which God you believe in?
When you say man-made God, what do you mean?
Man-made God means what do you call it? We go and worship something like these kind of...
So you mean like a deity?
Right.
First of all, realize the deity is not a made God. That's like saying, मैं आपकी photo खींचूं. When I go to the store और वो मेरे लिए मेरे phone से एक print out निकाल दूं. अब मैं आपकी photo मेरे साथ रखती हूं. And somebody says, अच्छा, that is man-made. Well, only the representation is made. You are divinely made. The deities that we worship are not man-made gods. They are representation, embodiments of the divine. Like a photo of you is a representation of you. उसी photo को देखे, अगर आपको बहुत प्यार करती, तो आपकी photo को देखे, my heart will become happy. Right? We carry photos of our loved ones. Why? Because we look at them, we feel very happy. You open up the wallet, the picture of your kids is there, your wife is there, your mom or dad is there. Why? Because every time you open your wallet, then photo dekhe khush ho jaan. But it's not, can you think that this photo is your mother, father, wife, child? You understand it is a representation. But through that representation, every time you see it, you get closer in your heart to the one you love. So these deities are representation. But they're actually even more than that, because especially in mandirs where the pran pratishtha ceremony,
That's right.
then it's actually that force, that pran of the divine is brought into this. So even more powerful. But God,
nobody has seen.
Nobody has seen, and we see all the time. We see all the time. The divine is infinite. The divine is all-many. Abhi aapko sunaya hai na? This teaching from the Upanishad. Isha vasimidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Everything in the universe is pervaded by the divine. See a tree, you're seeing God. Look in the mirror, you're seeing God. Look at each other, you're seeing God. Look at anything, you're seeing God. Because there is nothing that is not the divine. Sanatan Dharma is not a polytheistic religion. We do not believe in multiple gods. We believe in one supreme reality with an infinite number of possible manifestations. But we are also not a monotheistic religion in the way that the Abrahamic religions are monotheistic, where there is a sense of one God with a certain set of characteristics and whatnot. We believe there is nothing but God. There is no one, nowhere, no thing that is not the divine. When we say aham brahmasmi, tvam asti, that you are that, capital T that. You are that divine. Aham brahmasmi. I am. You want to see God? Look in the mirror. You want to see God? Look at each other. You want to see God? Go into the forest. It's not that no one has seen. It's that no one has recognized that this is it. But that's the problem with our vision. And it's not no one. There's plenty. We have plenty of enlightened, awakened ones who have seen them. Absolutely. This is the beautiful conversation between Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna, Paramhans Ramakrishna. And then he said to him, tell me, have you seen God?
Right.
It's clearer than I see you, look for me, right? Matlab, I see your form, but in you, I see God even in you.
But that level of awakening is also very hard to get, right?
Everything in life that is worth having is hard
to get.
Everything is hard to get. If you say, I want to be a concert pianist, तो practice करो. अगर आप piano के बगल में बैठ के practice करने के लिए तैयार ना हो, So how are you ever going to become a concert pianist? You want to become a scientist, a doctor, an engineer. पढ़ाई करो. Learn your equations, go to your science lab, go to school, study. नहीं तो होगा नहीं. अपने आप नहीं होता. Whatever you want meant is to work for it. Everything takes, even just a happy relationship takes work. वो भी अपने आप नहीं होता. शुरू में in the, honeymoon phase, things are fireworks and great. But even to keep love alive in a relationship,
You have to work on.
that also takes work. If you expect कि अपने आप होगा, I promise it will not. So yeah, it takes. But this is sadhana. This is every spiritual teaching that says swadhyay karo. Study yourself, study the scripture, dhyan karo, yog karo. Focus on that. ज्ञान प्राप्त. पैसा प्राप्त करने में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, पर ध्यान रखो कि उसके साथ साथ ज्ञान भी प्राप्त करो. नहीं तो all of that पैसा से कुछ नहीं होगा.
What is the thing you have learned at this time of your life, what you have not learned in the Stanford also?
When I first came to India, I thought my education was finishing. I was almost done with my PhD. I had just a little bit more writing left, some research, and my dissertation. मुझे लगा education मेरा खत्म होने वाला है. लेकिन यहाँ आकर I realized I know everything from the book. I was getting straight A's in my PhD program. But I didn't actually know anything about love. I didn't know anything about who I was. I thought I was very separate from God. I thought that at the core of who I was, there was something that was not right. I did not like myself very much at all. I did not have good self-confidence, self-esteem, nothing like that. I had depression, I had anxiety, I had so many things that I suffered and struggled with. I felt like my worthiness on this planet was based on my achievements. Do well, you are worthy. Don't do well, you are not worthy. I thought my worthiness was based on how I look. Look good, you are worthy. Don't look good, you are not worthy. Everything was on the external level. You succeed in your studies, then in your work. You look good, you go to the right parties, you live in the right area of town, and then you are quite dumb.
Right.
If not,
You're no good for nothing.
not even worthy of really occupying your place on planet Earth.
Sure.
And that was really how I thought. I also thought that the whole purpose of life was just to really learn how to manage your life.
Sure.
Everybody I knew was suffering from something: depression, anxiety, alcohol issues, drug issues, eating disorders, divorces, bare minimum, just severe stress. And these were all the top of the top people. But everybody I knew was suffering in some way. And I thought, okay, this is what life is. You just learn to manage your problems. You learn to manage your own emotions. You learn to manage your, relationships. You learn to manage these things. I never knew that there was actually something beyond managing your life. The idea of greed never occurred to me. Never occurred to me. The idea that you could actually be free from the idea that this was all Leela, this was all drama, this was all false, never occurred to me. I'd never heard the word Maya. मुझे लगा कि यही सच है. My straight A, like this is what's important. That was really what I thought. And I thought as I said, I didn't have a lot of self-confidence even as I did well. The idea that I was divine, I would have said to you, बंद कर दो मतलब thank you so much लेकिन
हाँ.
I would have just thought you were trying to make me feel better कि मेरे को ऐसे you are divine I would have said कि चलो छोड़ दो no problem. The idea that I actually was divine, the idea that I actually was born full, whole, complete, the idea that I was perfect exactly as God wanted me to be, the idea that all of this stuff I suffered from was due to illusion and ignorance, not due to some inner wrongness. This was brand new to me. So all of that is what I've learned since being here. Basically, everything that is worth really knowing about yourself and life is what I've learned since being
here. Why wearing this Bhagwa color? When there's if I understand if the spiritual awakening is from inner self, what matters about the clothes and these things?
Great question. Okay. 2 parts. Part 1 is just tradition. एक संन्यास परंपरा है. जब संन्यास लिया, first I wore white for many, many years, even संन्यास लेने के बाद. क्योंकि मुझे लगा कि being white and American, that I stood out so much anyway. तो मुझे लगा कि भगवा पहन के I will just stand out even more. तो मुझे लगा, let me just wear white, I will blend in. But what I found out much later was people told me, ki no, in white you stood out. Now in saffron you blend in because India is a land of colors. Somebody else is wearing blue, you're wearing saffron. It was white that made you stand out. So baad mein I was laughing that I had spent all these years wearing white thinking I was blending in. But to sannyas lene ke baad, ye sannyas ka parampara ki bhagwa rang pehante. और उसके पीछे, there's beautiful reasons. This is the color of the sun when it's rising and setting. And the meaning behind that is the sun gives and gives and gives to all. Puja Swamiji always reminds us, no discrimination, no hesitation, no expectation. The sun wants nothing from it. You do Surya Namaskar, it shines on you. You don't do Surya Namaskar, fear to be it shines on you. You do Surya Puja, shines on you. You don't do Surya Puja, you sleep through the sunrise, you sleep till noon, fear to be it shines on you. No expectation. No discrimination. People of every race, every religion, every color, every socioeconomic status, doesn't matter. For everybody. And the sannyasis are ones who should give and give and give like that. That's the life of the sannyasi.
Beautiful.
Is to serve and give like the sun. It's also the color of fire. And when you take sannyas, you literally perform your own final rites. Jo antim sanskar hota hai, the cremation, you actually do a yagna ceremony that is symbolically your own cremation.
Okay.
And you become purified in that. Fire purifies. Right? It's why we do the yagna ceremony. Fire is that which purifies. If I want to sterilize a needle, if you get a splinter in your foot, or see splinter ko nikalna hai, we take a needle,
right,
light a match, put the needle in the match for 30 seconds, boom, sterile, remove your splinter. This is the color of purity. So that's why in the sannyas parampara, we wear this color, is to symbolize that purity of mind, purity of thought, purity of heart, purity of life. Now, as you said so beautifully, spirituality is in.
Right.
Absolute. Absolute. But we're still human, even sannyas lene ke.
Right.
And you still have minds. And the mind is still influenced by the world around you. And if I look down, मान लीजिएगा, that भगवा रंग के साड़े के बजाय मैं एक छोटी सी मिनी स्कर्ट और एक छोटी सी स्पोर्ट्स ब्रा पहन लेती हूँ. और रोज जब भी मैं मिरर में देखती हूँ या जब भी ऐसे नीचे देखती हूँ, जब भी हाथ लगाती हूँ, I see my little mini skirt and my sports bra.
Right.
That self-identity that goes inside is based in large part on what we wear. The clothes do not change the inside. ऐसे नहीं कि भगवान पहन के फिर अपने आप you are enlightened. No. But it remains, जब भी कपड़े पहन, जब भी नीचे देखते हैं, whenever you see it, you remember, oh yeah, I have to give and give and give. With the sun, oh yeah, I have to have only pure thoughts, only pure actions. क्योंकि इंसान तो भूल जाते हैं. You're still human.
Right.
But उसको देख के याद आते, oh yeah. इसलिए हम तिलक लगाते हैं. Tilak is not कि just, sannyasis मिलकर. Tilak का मतलब ये कि हे भगवान, ये दोनों आंखों से. Whatever I see with these two eyes, I see in separation. I see something, it makes me angry, or it makes me feel lustful, or it makes me covet what that person has. But I have a reaction to what I see with these two eyes. Because whatever I am seeing, I see as an object. Even if it's a human being. Either they are someone I can use for my sensual pleasure, or to help me get ahead in some way, or whatever it may be. Or I see them as an obstacle in some way. But whatever I see with these two eyes causes suffering. This third eye is the eye, the inner eye. The eye that is the power of discrimination, jo Agya Chakra. The energy center of the power of discrimination. It allows me to see the truth. It allows me to see the divine. तो जब भी हम तिलक लगाते, it's a reminder to us कि okay, God, now I'm going in the world. I have to use these two eyes ताकि मैं गिर ना जाऊं. But let me see really, not only with these eyes, but let me see with this. It's a reminder. In the same way when we wear this color, whenever you're putting on your clothes, you remember, oh yeah.
It's a reminder.
Oh yeah, it's a reminder, exactly.
How you and Guruji met?
So after I had this incredible experience on the banks of Ganga, and I knew that I was meant to be here, I was walking through this ashram just to get back to the hotel.
Green
It was
hotel.
just a pathway, exactly, to get back to the hotel. And I heard a voice, and the voice said, you must stay here.
Oh.
मुड़ के देखा कि किसने हुआ. Nobody was there. मुझे लगा, okay, I just heard a voice. How is it possible nobody is there? But I kept walking. मुझे लगा कि शायद I didn't hear anything. फिर दोबारा सुना, you must stay here. मैं मुड़ के देखा, and again nobody was there. So I thought, this is very weird. I was a scientist. I was not a mystic. Did not hear voices. But I had taken this vow on the airplane that I would keep my heart open. I lived by an open heart, and I knew that there must be some reason I was going to India. And I just didn't know what the reason was. And that I promised to keep my heart open. So when I heard the voice the second time, तो मुझे लगा कि who knows, but clearly this is some kind of divine plan. तो ऊपर देखा, there was a sign that said office. So I went, okay, I want to stay here. Long story. But at the end of the day, finally, it took me 1 week because Puja Swamiji was out of town. But after 1 week, finally, he came back. And I went in to see him. And he was sitting surrounded by people. He was giving darshan, giving blessings to people. And I felt in my very being, in every cell of my being, that I was in the presence of the divine. That somehow this being in front of was, there's no way to describe it in words, but that this being in front of me was an embodiment, a manifestation, an expression, the divine, in a way that no one in whose presence I'd ever been once. And I told him, Ki, I want to stay here. I didn't tell him I've been hearing voices. Mujhe laga he will think I'm crazy. But I just told him I want to stay. And he said, welcome home.
Welcome home. But when you get surrounded by a lot of people give you attention also. Obviously, attention milta ho to you feel also sometimes important. Do you feel important? Or is it more social response?
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Dekho, mere mein kuch aise भ्रांति नहीं.
Sure.
I am very clear, and I have been very clear since the beginning. All of the attention that you get, ye logon ka jo bhav, jo bhakti hai, this is their great. This is not about my greatness. This is their greatness. Unki dil ka pavitra tha jo. Unka man ka pavitra. Unki dil or man ki jo bhakti bhav, uski wajah se they are paying attention. Uski wajah se they are bowing and doing pranam and all of this. This has nothing to do with me. This has to do with them. If you think it has to do with you, then yeah, you feel very important,
Right.
but you are living in illusion. This is the beautiful bhav, the beautiful bhakti of these people. And if I can be an instrument, a vehicle, channel for the expression of their beautiful bhakti, then that's a blessing. But this is not about my greatness. This is about their greatness.
Do you think gratitude brings healing and transformation?
Gratitude is one of the most important keys to healing. I always say in Ganga Aarti mein, hamesha logon ko yaad dilate रहूं कि देखो, we have misunderstood gratitude. लोगों को लगता है कि पहले जो मैं चाहती हूँ तो मुझको मिल जाए. उसको मिलने से मैं खुश हो जाऊंगी. Once I am happy, then I will be grateful. But it's actually the opposite. Gratitude does not come from happiness, and happiness does not come from getting what I want. Happiness comes from pehle grateful ho jao. Then you become it. This is what our sages and rishis have told us for thousands of years. And today, this is what modern science and psychology is telling. Gratitude is one of the greatest keys to happiness, peace, because gratitude ke madhyam se, we actually have this inner anubhav, this inner experience of realizing my cup runneth over. I am so full, I am so blessed.
The moment you look back, your whole journey, complete journey, what is the wisdom you have got so far? What is the wisdom you have inside? This is the wisdom I've got. It's nothing to do with being egoistic. Wisdom is like with age comes naturally. So what wisdom you have which you thought your journey was lacking?
I think the most important wisdom has to do with what I call the shift from the Hollywood way of thinking to this Himalayan way of thinking. Right? This is how I talk about it, how I think of it. Where I come from, quite literally in Hollywood, which is why my book is called Hollywood to the Himalayas.
Right.
But it's not just my physical body's journey. जीवन यात्रा मेरा तो हॉलीवुड से हिमालय, लेकिन जो ज्ञान मैंने प्राप्त किया, जो लेसन्स मैंने सीखे, वो फिजिकल बॉडी का लेसन्स तो नहीं है, ना फिजिकल बॉडी की डिपेंडेंट है. तो मेरा जीवन यात्रा था हॉलीवुड से हिमालयस, but the mindset वो सबके लिए है, जहाँ भी बैठे. And that shift is, the Hollywood way of thinking says you are your body. Its size, its shape, its color, its race, its religion, its success, popularity, its name, its fame, all of that you are that. And so we suffer. We suffer because you're never beautiful enough, you're never successful enough, you're never popular enough, you're never rich enough. Jitna bhi hai, everybody wants more. Everybody wants more. I have $100, I want $1,000. I have 1,000, I want 100,000. I have 100,000, I want 1 million. I have 1 million, I want 1 billion. Same. Whether you talk about dollars or rupees or followers on Instagram or TikTok, same situation.
Huh.
I have this, I want that. I get this, I want that. I get here, I want.
Always a chase.
We are never actually satisfied. And so we suffer competition. जो आपके पास है मैं चाहती हूँ. I want what you have. Constant competition. Seeing other people, therefore, as the enemy, as objects. I suffer in myself. I suffer with others, and we bring suffering to the earth because of the way we live. The shift from the Hollywood way of thinking to the Himalayan, that's the wisdom. That's the end of suffering. The Himalayan way of thinking says, you have a body, but you are not the.
Beautiful.
You are soul. You are divinity. You are consciousness. You are Brahman. You are existence. You are all out. You're not this body. The body is just your vehicle. And when you have that mindset shift, then to pehle se poor nahi. Then it's not about dollars or rupees or followers or cars. Then it's an awareness that you're already full. So you take care of the body, sharir ek mandir hai. Usko dhyan rakhna. But you don't identify. So I think that the core wisdom is the wisdom of that Himalayan way of thinking that says, yes, I have a body, but I'm not. The other piece of the wisdom, I think, for me, is really about becoming empty. Wisdom is not something that you accumulate that fills up space. For me, it's about getting emptier and emptier. Because in every moment, whatever the moment requires, that wisdom is there. It's there in the universe, there in the divine. And if you can be empty, then it flows through you like a channel. And so for me, actually, the wisdom has been, how can I empty myself as much as possible of my illusions, of my ignorance, of my attachment, ताकि I become just this clear channel. ताकि उसी समय जो भी जिसने मेरे से पूछा या जो भी मुझसे भगवान खिलवाना चाहते हैं, तो I can be a clear channel.
My last question, very interesting question.
They're all interesting.
When I travel all around the India, meet a lot of people. After meeting you, I wanted to ask you this question because wherever I go, I've seen that people look down toward the language. आप इतनी खूबसूरत हिंदी बोलते हो, and people living in India, calling themselves high society people, wealthy people, look down toward the language and the culture. And you being a foreigner, and I go to Vrindavan also, foreigners accepting the realities. And we are ignoring it with being here.
ये बहुत दुख की बात है. मैंने भी देखा. बहुत दुखी. देखे मुझे बहुत दुख. क्या है? हम जब पहले बात कर रहे थे about India's relationship with the West.
That's right.
क्या है कि इतने सालों से जब विदेशियों का influence हुआ, colonizations, British rule से एक idea चला गया. Indians की kind of cultural DNA में that everything Western is better than everything Indian. ये illusion, ये भ्रांति, this lie has gotten somehow mixed up into the DNA in India. And so whatever they can do to look and seem more Western, it's almost synonymous with sophistication. देखो मैं अंग्रेजी बोल रही हूँ, इसका मतलब है कि मैं
गोरा भी हूँ.
हाँ, मैं बहुत sophisticated हूँ. बहुत sophisticated हूँ. देखो मैं खाना के साथ wine भी पीती हूँ, इसका मतलब है कि मैं doubly sophisticated. मैं non-veg अपनी wine के साथ खाने लगूँ. देखो मैं कितनी sophisticated हूँ. We have fallen in our understanding. We have fallen in our wisdom. We are supposed to be growing. We are going backwards. Ulta ja rahe hain. Because we have misunderstood sophistication. We have misunderstood progress. On a physical level, we say progress is you cut down trees, you put in a factory, progress हो गया. उल्टा है. ठीक इसी तरह से we say you start drinking alcohol, start eating non-veg, give up your Hindi for English, ये progress हो गया. That is just as backwards as cutting down trees to put in a factory. This is not sophistication. This is letting go. As critical and precious as trees are for our physical body, as much as we need the oxygen, the water, the shade, what the trees give us, the absorption of carbon that our bodies need, that our earth needs, our minds, our hearts, our spirits, they need that culture. And so we are throwing out that which we actually need in the name of something that is this illusory illusion.
Illusion, yes.
But I have seen this. उनको लगता है कि अंग्रेजी बोलना तो sophisticated है, हिंदी बोलना तो backwards है. तो मैं इसको मतलब दूर करना चाहती हूँ. मैं चाहती हूँ कि सब भी इंग्लिश सीखो, कोई बात नहीं, स्पेनिश भी सीखो, फ्रेंच सीखो, जापानीज सीखो, कोई भी भाषा सीखो. It's wonderful. People are going to travel, do business. It's good to be able to talk to people in their own languages. ले अपनी भाषा को बोलने चाहिए. अपनी दिल का जो भाषा, खून का भाषा. You should never forget. And the Hindi language, especially with its connection to Sanskrit, it's not just कि अपनी मातृभाषा है.
Correct.
किसी का मातृभाषा is very precious.
Right.
But खासकर Hindi, Sanskrit, this is such a rich language कि जब तक मैं ही समझती हूँ वो पूरा विश्व में जो rich language जो actually लोग आज तक बोल रहे हैं, not like Latin जो अब खत्म हो
गया, बिल्कुल.
but जो actual living language. Hindi is like the richest living language. अब सोचो अंग्रेजी का 26 letters, Hindi में 52.
52. Correct.
Double the letters. कितने और possibilities
Deeper
of
understanding.
words.
Yes.
Deeper, nuanced understanding. इतना wealth है हिंदी भाषा कि कोई मतलब सोच नहीं सकता. तो मैं सबसे ऐसे निवेदन करती हूँ कि हिंदी बोलते रहो, अलग अलग भाषा सीख लो, कोई बात नहीं. लेकिन अपनी मन में, अपने विचार में, अपने परिवार के साथ, बाकी हिंदी बोलने वाले लोगों के साथ हिंदी बोल. देखो, you have double the letters, millions more possibilities of words you could use. फिर आपको नहीं कहना पड़ेगा कि अच्छा ये मेरा मतलब नहीं था, अच्छा जो मैं कहना चाह रहा था ये
नहीं था.
ठीक से कहो, जो कहना है ठीक से करो.
Right.
Use all the letters.
Right.
It's such a rich language.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sadhviji. Thank you for being part of Impact Story. It was a beautiful conversation. Thank you.
बहुत अच्छा लगा. आप ऋषिकेश आए, माँ गंगा के किनारे आ गए. बहुत बढ़िया. कम से कम इससे
अब आप हमारे साथ पार्ट 2 जरूर करेंगे.
डन पक्का.
हाँ.